Okay then, so what we are, let's get on and do a demo. For goodness sake, you're going to say get on with it. I think, I mean, it's, yeah, for what we're looking at, I think that'll do us. I think people's lives may become too short. We're going to lose people through old age and wastage.
Are you talking about yourself there?
Says the youngest person gathered around. No, you've made it a lot worse, Rui. Oh, my life force is ebbing away. I don't know if anybody gets that reference. It's from an old video game of the 80s. Amy, you wouldn't understand. Yeah, let's just move on with that. Okay, super job. We are going to come out of Finder mode. We're going to start stacking some images so we can just get going on something here. We're going 4 seconds again. And we are going to turn on stack image. As you see, we haven't got the auto range. So image set list just on auto range and image setting color balance, right? Image stacking. Then we want particular things, image settings. You can let go. Okay, so yes, I was stacking. Yeah. Okay, so auto range. Where have we got auto range type? Where have I missed that? Is that range quality there? I'm losing markers there. Oh, presets, right. Front, auto adjust. Just to saturate this colour balance type. What are we not seeing? Because we should have stopped this internal things. Incorrect. Right, one second. Stacking image. Okay, I think what we should probably do at this point, we'll move through and have a look at some different objects as we go. Okay. Have you got any plastic left? I did have that connected yet, but I'm going to have to go to somebody else's phone in a minute. Okay, so what we're going to do on this was talk through the advanced image settings. So should we just go on with that now we've got to this advanced stage of what we're doing?
Steve Larson says, run with what you've got, please.
Thank you. Yes. Good. Okay, so I'm going to... Yeah. Shall we just get on with it and then talk about what these advanced image settings are all about? So, if we work down from top, these settings appear on this left-hand side. If we close all these other ones up. So we've got advanced settings down here. And the first thing here is x-axis type, and that's log. That refers to the way the histogram is displayed. So you see on the x-axis we start off at 200, values around 200, then got to 1,000, then 10,000 in a logarithmic scale. The alternative logarithmic is normal, so then it's basically evenly spaced, so we start with 10k, 20k, 30k. It's pretty normal to find it easier to adjust these sliders when we're using a log scale, because you see at the moment the sliders are right scrunched up down the bottom. The times when it would be useful to put it on the normal scale is, even though Infinity doesn't do a great job stacking planetary images, if we were displaying a picture of the moon here, it would probably be easier to adjust black and white settings if we had a normal non-log setting. But as soon as we start to look at blue sky objects, it's probably best to go and stick onto log. And the other thing we can see, oh, we've got a comment on that.
Yes, Chris A says, I cannot see your histogram. If that's a common thing for everybody.
Yes, that's a pain because it's not on the bottom. We're missing the bottom of the screen here, aren't we? So what I should just do then is...
And also Baz says we're getting sort of a very noisy and quiet line. Apologies, Baz. We are trying to speak up, but we are in a field. There is a little bit of noise. If you can turn it up, then we'll do our best to speak up as well.
Right, so what we need to do on this is... Not a full screen. Right, so how do we make this non-full screen, if you can remember? So I'll grab the corner and just make it a bit smaller. I can minimise the application, I can close the application. How the hell? And I've got to 0 down here. Okay, so now I'm no longer getting these things on this side. Do I see this something disappearing? I can imagine it.
Hello, Romoko, watching from Phoenix.
Right, I'm going to have to close this down and then... Oh, we've got two... What is going on with this?
Got more cat saying Alt plus Enter. Is that
Oh,
the combination
awesome.
you're wanting?
Let's try Alt plus Enter. Let's just see not.
Vince Bygraves, hello, says double click between the R and the I.
Oh, and the eye. Where's the eye?
This,
Oh. Hi,
thank
Vince.
you, Vince.
Right, so what we need to do, and then how do we move this? Yeah, okay, right then. Now, let's try that and see, is that a section that we can all see on the
Hopefully,
broadcast?
we
Stop
haven't quite
playing.
caught up yet.
Okay, so let's start again with 4 seconds. Where is it? What's the range it? What? Minimize what? Stack. Image quality. Second, image quality. Full screen. I mean, you're just having a go at this.
I
I'm
can
not...
see a histogram on my...
Yeah, so we've now got it so we can see the histogram.
Yeah. Hello, Jim from Massachusetts.
We can see it on the histogram, can't we? Yeah. Do you have to close it again and start back again? What's the range?
No,
You know, it's stack on image on, it's just down here, but this dude's just there. Okay, shall we start off on where we were on the histogram and what we were meant to do with shall I again? Thanks. Okay, we can edit that out, obviously, if it wasn't live. And what we also should just do, because I think at the moment the which quality is it? No. Colour balance is on manual at the moment. That's an interesting one. So we've in all the messing around, we've turned colour balance on manual, and we've got this really green background. I'm going to turn it on to auto adjust, and it turns out to be nice. There's a number of ways of doing that, but this, rather than just these individually, is easier just to hit auto adjust and get the whole thing to a decent colour. Let's just get our old friend Orion looking half decent before we carry on with it. I think that a bit of a logarithmic stretch on it. Okay, so I was talking about the histogram. Can we see the histogram on there? No, because we're quite delayed on it.
Yeah, we're quite delayed on that one.
Are we?
I believe that we'll be able to see it on this if anybody's having problems still seeing that, then do let us know.
Okay, so one of the problems is we're about a minute delayed from looking at the YouTube stream just to check it's okay. But I'm going to persevere on at this point. Okay. So what we're now looking at, so I was talking about the x-axis type. Can we just turn me off for a second? Okay, thanks. So the x-axis type is log. It's referring to these numbers on this bottom axis. So for deep sky images, yeah, okay, so we can probably stretch that a little bit more. Yeah, okay. Shall I just continue doing this for a bit? Yeah. Okay, thanks, Ray. Okay, so x-axis type. We've got logarithmic, so we're going up as a logarithmic scale on the bottom. It works well with deep sky images, so it expands this end of the scale where we've got our white level and our black level. The other option, as I was mentioning, was normal, where it's a linear scale on the bottom. As we can see here, our white level and black level are right tightly packed on the left-hand side of this histogram. So to actually adjust it is really quite difficult now. In fact, I just grabbed the wrong slider just to show how difficult that is. Yeah, so not a fun experience trying to adjust histogram black and white level of a deep sky image using a linear scale. And it can work well if you've got an object with a huge amount of dynamic range, something like the moon, or if you're doing any terrestrial objects. The stacking probably wouldn't work that well doing those objects. But if we're trying just to view the moon on this, then it'd probably be easier to adjust using a normal scale. But we're going to leave this on logarithmic scale. The x-axis type is exactly the same on the x, and if we just put it back to normal, what we'll get is actually not too dissimilar. No, it's not as changed. Sorry, as changed. And so what we're getting is most of the values on this image is actually black, so we're getting this really big peak here to denote all the black pixels. And the other pixels make up such a small proportion of that population that they're all really tightly packed on the bottom of this Y scale. So again, it works better if we've got log. If you're looking at an object that isn't a deep sky image, you might try setting them on normal to see if you get a better display of what histogram looks like. Okay, that's doing this. Should we, before I move on to the next one, should we just go across to something like the flame, just so we're doing one or two things that are different?
Jim says what sort of telescope and mount are you using?
Mm.
Okay, 101 TV, yeah?
Yeah, that's it.
Right, okay, excellent. Skywatch 125.
So yeah, we've previously when we've done this, we've had all sorts of problems with pointing, and that seems no longer to be the biggest problem here we're having tonight. Okay, what I'm going to do here is just are we moving yet? Yeah. Okay, and spin it round. One thing we do get with this horizon that you didn't get so much with the infinity camera is this really big field of view that you can zoom in on. Actually, we've got a little bit of the Running Man nebula there. Amy, I don't know if you've probably not seen so many of these, but you're familiar with the Running Man off the side,
I am.
You are. You know what it's called, the Running Man nebula.
I don't.
Oh, there's Ed. That's his head, and his arms, and his legs. It's obvious.
Yes. I can see it now.
Yeah. In fact, I think there might be another reason why it's called the Running Man nebula, but I just assume it's a little man that's kind of running.
You have had some questions from social media as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, right. Yeah, so so what we're just going to do here is image stacking. So we're just going to turn image stacking off for a moment so we can start up. There we go. So we're now zooming through space and time. Well, I can immediately.
Answer a quick question?
No.
Oh.
This is. I have no brain capacity left on this doing it. We're going to see something else. Actually, we've just done. Oh no, I can see something that's going to appear there pretty shortly. Anyway, so yes, we're stacking in on 4 seconds. What I'm going to do here is actually increase the binning because we're going to look for a frame between object. I think everybody knows what's going to be there. But, okay, should we do 10 seconds? And then let's go to the DT. Okay, so it's just reset the stack, I believe. So stack information, we've got 1 on the stack at the moment. If you're new to this software, like I am, this stack information here shows the number of images that are currently in the stack. So we should see this appearing to 2 in a moment. It's not. Why is that not happening? Let's just stop that and start that, just so we know what we're doing. Stack image. We're on video. These stack images on 10 seconds. Okay, so we've got 2 now. That's good. And we just got to get back to auto range. This was quite handy. Now, this is it's gone black and white, hasn't it? So we're on binning 2, and we've now got a black and white image. Because this advanced settings, which I was going to talk about in a moment, but we might as well just do this right now. We've got colour bin mode is on normal. So I'm just going to see if I can onto colour now. We may just have to stop that a second. So if you've got a colour infinity, in fact colour, any sort of colour camera, and you bin the pixels 2 by 2, what you end up doing is destroying the colour information, so the software can no longer discern what colour it is, because if you're binning a colour, you have 2 greens, a blue and a red pixel all together, and so each individual pixel no longer has colour information. What's ticking this advanced image button? Settings go. Colour bin mode. By setting that to colour, what we're doing is doing the combination of pixels after debayering. So first of all, it extracts the colour information, and then it adds the pixels together. So we get an increase in sensitivity. This is a CMOS camera, so we can't bin on the sensor itself. So there's no chance of actually combining those pixels apart from in software. But doing it this way just means we keep that colour information. Now, obviously, we're way too overexposed at the moment. Let's just set these levels up again. Okay, so 10 seconds. This is the enemies on the stack at the moment. We've got 7 on the stack of 10 seconds. I always quite like, and in fact, one of the good things about this Panasonic sensor is it seems to render the colour of the flame really well. And to get this, we'd have to spend probably quite a long time on it. But you get this kind of, how do you describe that red? It's not as red as the hydrogen alpha from behind. Okay, the one artist gathered around the table would describe that colour as buff. Okay, yes, but when you do this, if you're using colour filters, LRGB filters, quite often it's quite difficult to get a decent colour out of, well, I find it quite difficult to get a decent colour out of the flame and to get it to discern nicely from the hillside. But yeah, just the normal settings, the way that the Panasonic sensor on-chip filters seem to work, do work quite nicely for this object. And also, if we went for quite a lot longer exposures, we'd end up seeing this blue nebulosity around the star. And I forget what the star's called. This one's on attack, isn't it? On attack, yeah. It's on attack, illuminating the flame, I believe. But what do I know? And the horse head is obviously a dark nebula in front of this hydrogen alpha that we have behind it. Right then, so I was going to talk about advanced settings. I've just also found a really good reason to start talking about one of them, the colour settings in it. Let's just work our way back down again. We've got this image quality set to raw pixels. If we can zoom in really tightly, what we see here in the background is some really definite pixels, square pixels. So what we can do, if we want it slightly smoother, if we pick blend, the backgrounds become a little bit smoother. And actually, if you zoom out on them, this can actually appear, slightly smoother image. I was talking to our software engineer Chris about this a little while ago. I think we put in raw pixels in there just because astronomers like to kind of see raw pixel values, so when you zoom in, you kind of expect to see individual pixels. But really, I think the quality of image is actually more pleasing in some ways if you're prepared not to see the raw pixels. You actually get a slightly smoother background by putting on blend pixels. And I believe because this all happens at quite a low level in this image control panel, there's not much of a hit in terms of performance from doing that blending on the background. So yeah, if you're looking for quality of image, you might find it's worthwhile hitting blend pixels rather than raw pixels. Hopefully that made sense. I don't know if I did or not. Show image quality is just showing this image quality box up here. So image quality is this full width half max that we've got turned on. So we can just turn that off if we weren't using it. And at the moment we're not using it because you can select only images of a certain quality on here to be applied to the stack. But just by turning the show image quality off, we then lose that item on these panels of controls. And because they kind of stack up a lot, sometimes it's useful just to get rid of it. Right then, X flip and Y flip. I think I can just, yeah, so this is one of those things where, you know, astronomical images and CCD cameras, depending on how we've got the camera attached to the telescope, depending on if the telescope's got a mirror or not, you can end up with images that appear to be round the wrong way. So just by moving flip, you know, we wouldn't want to see the horse head upside down particularly. So if we do a Y flip. And there, that's just got east and west round the opposite direction to what we're used to seeing it. So we're going to flick it back round and seeing, you know, the flame the horse head has we'd normally expect to see it displayed. Horse head isn't a particularly bright object, so just doing these 10-second exposures, we are, you know, it's not a hugely bright object. But we can see it. I think really when we're looking at these kind of live view images, you know, live viewing, it's kind of seeing the object more than getting a really high quality astro image from the camera. In fact, the blue nebulosity will start to show up a little bit in there as well. Okay, now the next thing I was going to talk about, add Q to full width half max. So I'm going to bring up the image quality dialog again. And see there, at the moment we've got full width half max is showing at 5.1. Now, if we take that off, what this does is if it's off, then it just looks at the full width half max. So we'll start to say, yeah, so we're now getting a significant change because we're no longer adding a quality function to it. The quality is basically how round the star is. So the full width half max, I'm not quite sure why that suddenly jumped out. Oh, yeah, I'll have a quick look at that in a minute. But the full, yeah, just come back to the full width half max really doesn't describe how round a star is particularly well. And if somebody kicks the tripod and you get a slight trailing, then that's not very well brought up by just full width half max. So adding this Q function describes how round a star is. So if you end up with one image where just for a second the tripod got shaky or the mount moved, then it can be quite useful just to add this extra Q function to it, which will then, if you're stacking, depending on what the quality was, will pick up that movement much more accurately. So again, it really only depends if you're then choosing to stack, rejecting a full width half max of bigger than a certain value. Our tracking's pretty good tonight, so I don't think we're really going to ever end up starting to reject images on full width half max, regardless if we add the Q function. But if you've got a tracking that's slightly playing up, adding that Q function can be handy. And we give the option of whether or not to add it or not, or just go on just full width half max. Okay, I feel I'm talking a lot, and
You are.
I'm also feeling. Where's our?
Nope, it's all right. We've got quite a bit of a delay on that. It will come back.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
I will say that we've only got 3% on our phones, so I'm going to be able to.
Okay. Yeah, have we got a lightning connector? I did have one lying around somewhere. Yeah, I had power the table, or if we've got a lightning connector we can plug in to charge up one of the phones.
In the meantime, we have a question, what kind of telescope works best with the infinity? Reflector, orbital versus arc.
Okay, so yeah, a quick question there from, do you know who it's from?
It's social media, but unfortunately I haven't got a list of who they're from.
Okay.
Apologies for that.
Okay, so yeah, whoever asking about the Infinity camera, which is a slightly a lower resolution camera than the Horizon, slightly smaller sensor, but CCD is very sensitive. Does it work? It's more determined by the focal length. Now, your reflectors will tend to have a longer focal length than the average refractor. Not as a real broad assumption, but yeah, it's probably easier to get a shorter focal length refractor. And yeah, to get a good field of view with the Infinity, it's probably easier to use a reflector. Something around 500 mils focal length. If you go a lot longer than that, it gets really interesting, but you do start to have a smaller field of view. It's a CCD, so you can bin it. So it can work really well with a reflector. It's just that you'll be having smaller field of views and you'll be looking at slightly smaller objects. So it could work either way, and our software will rotate images as it stacks them. So it doesn't really matter if you've got a equatorial mount or an alt-azimuth mount. The first broadcast we did off a little Celestron C6, I think it was, in alt-azimuth mode. And that was really pretty good. We did it actually off a Infinity camera. It was black and white actually at the time. So it was really quite nice to zoom between different Messier objects and have a look at those. So that's a new instance where it worked well with a reflector on an alt-azimuth mount. So you don't need a refractor on an equatorial. You can really go whichever way you want on that one. But yeah, I would say, yeah, the only thing being field of view is a relatively smaller sensor compared with the Horizon. So just kind of watch what kind of field of view you get, and you can simulate that in our Attic app on the App Store on iOS devices, or on pretty much any field of view.
Same person says, the Infinity is awesome, but in creating deep space images, but can it also take pictures of planetary, or are they too bright?
Okay, it certainly can do. The challenge then really is frame rates. So you end up with a frame rate that is small compared with most planetary cameras. But it certainly can do. The Infinity software doesn't do a great job stacking them, but you can view images of the moon as you then go between planetary images, Venus or Jupiter. So it can be used. It's not a dedicated planetary camera, but you can have a look at and do some planetary imaging with it. And you go down to really short exposures with the Infinity. There's an interline CCD sensor. So even though they're bright objects, you can get really short exposures. So they will work.
Okay, and I've got another question.
It's a good
here.
job that nobody can really see what's going on here. There is a lot of paddling below the surface.
I don't think so. It's seamless. Just a quick question. Any chance the Attic software will support connecting to remote indie device?
Shall we do that in a bit? Just
Yep.
Because we're
back to it again?
yeah. Shall we just move? Were there any other objects we were going to look at, so we kind of get a selection of different things? So we've been stacking the horse head and flame for a little bit now. And it's a nice image. I think to get a lot better than that, would probably need us to turn up the exposure time by a bit more. But it's not a bad little image from a 100mm refractor. So what other objects were you thinking of going for? And we had one comment to go for the Monkey Head Nebula, which I wasn't dead sure how bright that was going to come up, but we could give it a go. Of an NGC something or other. Amy, would you like to tell us what NGC number that was?
This one? With,
Yes, it was. I nearly had it.
I was very about to say that.
Yeah.
Somebody stole my thunder.
I don't know anybody who knows a huge number of NGC. Okay, let's see. So what we're going to do is just turn that stacking back off again now, so you can see as it's slow down. So just fix stacking off. What I'm going to also do is turn the exposure time light back down again, so we can see it moving around. Okay, off you go. So that sound in the background isn't really making a cup of coffee. It is, of course, the HEQ. Okay, you think that's on the Monkey Head Nebula. Now this is going to be faint. We haven't got hydrogen alpha filter on it. Okay, so let's just go. Let's just see what it is that we can get on with.
Okay, David says, Steve, can you maximise or optimise your window? But we'll happen to have our window like that, David, because
yeah, we can probably
people can see the histogram.
Probably pull it down a little bit more than that. Yeah, so can we get to see...
Just let us know if you can't
You've got it.
see everything.
Carl, this is on the edge of doable, I think. No, so do we tripped over a cable? We're not doing anything anymore, are we? I think we just... on 4 seconds, 1.1. Actually, yeah, so what's happened here is, I think, we just moving around with hits the cable. Okay, so on 10 seconds, just... USB, such a really nice connectivity thing, but the cables, we either have them so that they float too easily, or not at all. Okay, we've
got a question from Chris A. Says, I know you want to keep the Infinity software intuitive,
oh yeah, we'd love to.
but large sensors coming out, and most of us can't afford high end scopes with large imaging software.
Yep. Yeah, so why would that mean... Yeah, give it... Yeah, we're just going to leave it on there for a little while now. So Chris, can... Oh yeah, so we'd like to keep the altitude, so yeah, then it goes on. So Chris A goes on and say, can Chris implement a live flat subtraction feature? Yeah, we've been talking about that a fair bit in the office. Yes, we should stack the images as well. We haven't been doing that. There's a number of things. We should have something on it that tells you when you're not stacking. But in terms of the live flat, we have to then find a way of getting that flat and putting it into the software. As you know, Chris, that then does make it slightly less intuitive, possibly. So it is a challenge to kind of just kind of get the right level of complexity into the software. If we can do it in a way that doesn't upset the main part of the software, we will do it. And we've got to look at this Infinity software again as the Cosmos comes out, because the Cosmos is 62 megapixel image. At the moment, all the memory buffers in this piece of software will fall over. We start to put 62, colour 62 megapixel images in there. So we will need to look at some of these odd items again. I was kind of thinking that maybe when we look at the Cosmos, image, we will actually limit the resolution possibly when we're using it with infinity, just because of using live stacking. It may just become, need too much of a powerful computer if we're trying to align 62 megapixel images on the fly. At the moment, we're very laggy on the what do you call it, on our video feed we're looking at on the phone. Can somebody just type into the chat something like 1234 at this point, just so we can work out how much of a delay we've actually got on the text messaging, because it could be a hell of a long time. If the bit of video I'm seeing is from about 10 minutes ago. We've got on YouTube.
To say thank you for your response. So, thank you.
Okay, yes. Okay, yes, right then. Yes, we're getting it. Excellent. Yes, so 1234, that's thanks really for that one. That means that we have probably got, it's around a minute delay, I think. So by the time I've then said, 1234, excellent stuff. The time, I then respond, it's probably about 2 minutes since anybody actually typed anything. So, okay, so runs that's it. Yeah, and in terms of flats, I would like to do it. There's a number of things I think we'd like to do in there. Can we talk? I shouldn't mention the stuff I would like to put into it, because if it doesn't go in, we'll say, why haven't we done it? But the other thing, I think I'd like a third mode, so you can then freeze a grab of an image and then do some basic processing, do some sharpening on it, do maybe some finer histogram control that wouldn't make sense to be doing on a live image because it would take too much processing power. But it'd be quite nice to be able to put an unsharp mask through different objects, basically freeze a stack and then process it, and then maybe go back to the stack again and then start adding more images to it. So there's one or two. There's certainly it's a piece of software that will be continually developed. Now we have it working, it's really quite good fun to actually play around with it. And the monkey head nibbler, that's not a bright object when you haven't got hydrogen alpha filter. And it's also really quite pleasing in colour, because we've got, from that bright central star, we've actually got quite a lot of blue colour actually starting to prepare there. I think if we had have increased the exposure time up to maybe 30 seconds or so and left it running for 20 minutes, we'd have quite a pleasing image from the monkey head. And I'm going to tease Amy for a second. Why is that called a monkey head, do you believe, Amy?
Because it looks like a monkey head.
Awesome. Would anybody like to point his nose out to me? Obvious, isn't it? It's just, no, you've seen it. It's just, there's no way of not seeing it anymore, is it? Yeah. I should just follow, this is where Rory's finger was pointing on the screen. Indeed. One eye. Is it really? Is that the way you're seeing it? It is, yeah, it's a little mouse. Yeah, because that's the rest of his head, isn't it? Yeah. A cheeky
Rob
little
asks,
monkey.
what is the F ratio of the scope?
Is it 7?
What did you say?
Oh.
5.4, Rob.
5.4, 100 mil refractor. So there's no, we haven't got a reducer, it's just a television 101. Yeah. Shenanigans. Yeah. Okay, shall we talk? This really was meant to be all about the advanced features that we have in here. And I was kind of working through, so we talked about X flip and Y flip, and we might need those with different telescopes. We talked about adding Q. Show tooltips. So we hover over here. That's interesting. If we press Skype, my impression was if we do show tooltips, we would then get. Okay, I think what might have to happen is you might have to close the software, open it up again in order for the. Oh no, hang on a sec. No, hang on a sec. Let's just do that again. So we have it off, and then we go over on the record function. It just says select directory. If we show tooltips on, we go over the top of there, and then we get this record data is the tooltip. It can be handy if we're kind of looking for what these different functions mean. Not everything has got a tooltip on it. So yeah, so it's just the things on the top I think will have tooltips. It might be a case of we start to expand those. I know with the Dusk software we just released, we spent a while actually running through and putting tooltips on everything. And I think we'll come through and refresh the Infinity tooltips in time. But anyway, so show tooltips. If you want to see the tooltips, use that check button. Calculate image movement. Now you always want this checked. So basically, if you don't, it won't align the images as it goes to stack them. So you'll end up with, if there's some drift in the image, then you'll slowly get trails of stars because the images won't be aligned prior to stacking. So calculate image movement is calculating the movement of the current frame relative to the whole stacked images. And it actually predicts that as well. So when it looks for an alignment, it knows how much the telescope's drifting at the moment and it looks for a solution around that amount of drift. I think originally we introduced that as somebody had a terrestrial application for Infinity and they just wanted to stack images regardless and not have the images move in between each one. And I guess if you've got a really good mount, you may want to turn that off and just stack them anyway. But really, for pretty much everybody, just keep that calc image movement checked. Auto reset stack. Now, if we check this and basically we move from one image to another, or it fails to stack an image, it will then reset the stack and then it will make the assumption that we've slowed from one image, from one part of the sky to the next part of the sky. I guess it's got a use if we're going from lots of different images and yeah, I suppose so. And if we're not really failing, yeah, so basically it would reset if it couldn't find a solution to stack one image on top of the next. It would basically discard the entire stack and keep the new image. But otherwise, the way we're doing it, without auto resetting the stack, we do need to remember to reset the stack by turning basically stacking on and off in between each image. And I think that's one of the things we went wrong early on when we were trying to do something. I think I made the assumption that it should reset just by moving to a different object. But because we haven't got it checked, basically it doesn't reset the stack after we move off an object. Alright then. Okay, so we come down now to use original CB. Now CB stands for colour balance. We adapted the way in which it judged colour balance, and we think we improved it. But with a lot of these things, different people have different views on colour balance, and so we wanted to keep the option to maintain the old colour balance. In this case, it really looks like the colour balance is pretty similar, whichever way I've clicked it. So both the original colour balance method and the new method seem to be giving very similar results. Just make sure when I'm stacking one, it might only update after I've got a new image on the stack. Really good. Yeah, but I can't tell the difference between original and new, so we'll keep it on the new version. And it's the way it calculates the background basically and works out how to make the how to make the image pleasing, so we're getting yellow stars rather than lots and lots of blue stars. Zoom speed is on the mouse, so that's the only thing I'm on. So just in terms of zooming in and out of the mouse, it's on fast. Slow, I imagine it will be slower. So yeah, so it's just basically on what speed the zoom is on the mouse. So I'll keep it on fast. Okay, now right, we've got a few other things. Is there anything else we should if we give ourselves a quick break on the advanced image settings?
Just got a few target selections, suggestions here. M31, M51. It's been suggested that M51 is too low at the moment. Yes.
Yeah, we're a bit... I think if we were in England, it would be a lot easier. Uh, 81, 82 would be well placed. But that obviously that wasn't one of the ones on the list that we were suggesting. We would just be going rogue. My daughter was talking about a certain YouTube channel where their catchphrase was, "It's our YouTube channel, not yours." But obviously
Well, we're better than that.
we are obviously we're not. Haven't got the same number of subscribers as they have.
Indeed.
But I think it was a drag.
We've also been requested, are there any future plans for broadcasts on Facebook?
Oh, that's a technology we haven't even
We
started
haven't
to
even
embrace.
gone there. I think we embraced this one vaguely
Yeah, okay.
this evening, so I think that we'll be sticking with YouTube until we get the hang of it, and then we will certainly look at it.
Okay. Right, and we're moving some. Where are we moving to, Root? 51. We're going to do. No, it's the people's choice. Now, the pizza we had didn't arrive. It was quite a way away, the pizza shop. So we've only had half a pizza that we haven't made. And it's starting.
I didn't think we were going to get into that much detail in this broadcast.
I'm wondering if the sugar levels are becoming starting to droop a little bit.
It's very dark and cold and we're very hungry. But we do it for you guys.
Okay, I reckon I can see where that is. It's interesting. We've got some light coming in off the edge of the douche shield on there, I think. But I'd be very surprised if that wasn't N51 over there. And what's the little NGC off the side of NGC? Who knows? The NGC something. So we're gonna have a look at stacking this image. Yeah. Let's go all the way up to about 30 on this one, shall we? Because and just show the difference. We've done 40 there, by accident. We've got to 4 times. So this won't be the greatest resolution, and it will take a while to come up. But let's see what happens. Now I can start talking about something else again.
Chris, yes, we are in Portugal currently. He did say that UK is clouded.
Yeah.
As per usual.
Pretty much. Okay, now it looks as though Instagram's not quite as colour bounce manual. How's that suddenly jumped into manual? So that's an interesting one. The colour bounce will put that back to auto adjust. It might take a little while just for that align. So at the moment we've got the histogram looking slightly different to green blue. Let's see if this sorts itself out. Next one in. Yeah, it does, yeah. So the auto colour bounce, you see now the black levels at the back are slightly more even. And the background's looking more even. One of the things with dashing between these different objects is that we're not seeing the highest quality of image at any one time. But we've only seen 2 just yet, absolutely. Yeah, activists, you kind of, I mean, this is a fairly faint object. If we're looking at this visually through a 100mm scope. No, I would like to think I could, you wouldn't see, I don't think you'd see much of the spiral arms, but you could, 100mm scope is struggling. Looks nice for a 24-inch. It does. But that's not what's on. And that's kind of what we used to say is this live video imaging is like having a very portable 24-inch scope.
It is absolutely. I can tell you that I have a 15-inch of sensor, and you can really see the detail that you are seeing here right now.
Yeah. I was seeing the bridge there. It'd be interesting. we'll work out how long does it take me to explain the next bit of advanced settings, and will we see the horns start to grow out from the NBC neighbour at the time I've finished on the image quality settings, and then we can say everything I know about M51 after that, which isn't a lot, but I do know one or two things. Okay, so fine histogram control. So this comes out on this side, this little control on the right hand side. Depending on which one you're selecting, it then gives you a chance to give finer control. And you have to type numbers in if you want to this. Actually, I think it's extra 2000, maybe. No, I think just catching me up at the time. Right? Yeah, maybe you can't. Maybe I've tried to do too much there, but you you have finer control with the actual values by putting this control up. What we're going to want to put this in is around 1,000. And likewise, for this is the mid-level, or basically the amount of non-linear stretch we're giving this. And if we knew what we were doing, we could probably... Yeah, start to move the non-linear stretch on that side, and this is the white level on this side. So it gives you a chance just to set really quite fine levels of control. But as we've talked before, once you've got this into histogram mode, really you've got pretty much all the resolution and finesse you need just by grabbing hold of the white or the black level. The other thing, just we can mention, we try to make this a bit easier. So if you're not actually on top of, this can be quite hard to hit these levels by having the mouse over it if you're using the tracker pad. So just by going right click, you automatically grab hold of the white slider, and if you do a left click, you automatically grab hold of the black level slider. So there's a couple of little things there just to make it slightly easier to use this histogram control if you haven't got a mouse in the field. Mouse in the field. I've got a mouse in, we actually have got a mouse in the office at the moment, but hopefully that will be in the completely humane cage by now, ready to be stuck in a bucket of water. Okay, we've got long exposures. Yeah, this is another interesting little feature. We felt that this kind of live view imaging really worked up to about 2 minutes of exposure. And then we got some requests for could we have even longer exposure times, because the camera's kind of capable of it. So at the moment the software doesn't allow you to set anything longer than about 2 minutes of exposure. Unless you have this checked, in which case I think you then got to about 5-minute exposures. So you get a warning though. It says the quality of the image may degrade with longer exposures. We recommend exposure times less than 2 minutes, 120 seconds. But now we've got that button checked. If we wanted to, we could go up to something a lot longer. It'd be quite interesting to try that, wouldn't it? But it would mean I'm not seeing anything. That's kind of where it no longer becomes live view imaging. Yeah. Actually, just by clicking that, have I just stopped the stack from working? Restacking. Yeah, so I've just accidentally reset the stack by pressing that button, which is a pity. Oh, actually, exposure time's just gone completely. Yeah, so by pressing that button, I've just reset the exposure time down to. That's remarkable. We're seeing that in a few milliseconds. We should probably. Let's just try. That's not going to anything we want to do. Let's try it. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Very good. While we wait for 3 minutes, that we will obviously never get back. We can look at. Yeah, let's answer a question.
Yeah, okay. Could you get M97 and M108 in the same frame?
Not for the next 3 minutes, we can't. No, because we're committed.
But we have 97 on this, but it's just going to be...
Yeah. And really quite faint as well. We'd see the core, I'm sure, but...
M97 bluish color.
Oh,
picture,
okay, yes, I've got the wrong object.
but then you run away with it, freak out, you know. But that's quite a small object. Nice thing.
Okay,
Relatively speaking.
okay, there's, in a minute we'll show you some hidden settings actually. So if anybody's thinking about stopping, tuning out now, I'm not sure how many people have really got logged in at the moment. But don't, stick around for a minute, we'll be what's they called, Easter egg. We'll do an Easter egg in a bit. Excitement, woo!
Yay. Yeah, they're wondering about filters, etc. Because they are aware of the light pollution.
Yeah. I mean, these one-shot color cameras, there are some one-shot color camera filters for hydrogen alpha and oxygen that seem to work well. So yeah, I haven't heard of anybody using those with the Infinity software, but they should work. Hydrogen alpha would just return a red image at the moment, but would have probably worked quite nicely with the monkey head. And the other thing we've got to remember here is although I look at the laptop, just look at the sky, so I can't really see many stars here at all. But
It probably needs to be about
yeah, we've got an increasing high cloud coming in from the north. So yeah, the more things we go near the south, the easier it's going to get for us.
And David says, remind us again what camera you're using. We're using a Horizon 2.
Colour.
Yeah, colour. And David is in 11,000.
Hey, excellent. That's a camera that's one of the ones I designed ages and ages ago. Thanks for buying that. Supporting my circuit board building skills. So, with the Horizon 2, there's Tom Clark done the majority of the circuit board layout on that one. That's layout using lots of high-speed memory and things. It's a different beast. So this is a 3-minute exposure, and it's a single 3-minute. So that's something that we can only do now that we've unlocked these longer exposure images. What we're worried about really is the number of hot pixels coming through, but the software itself auto-subtracts hot pixels. And you can see we really got quite a nice, we're not plagued by hot pixels on this image. We are plagued by, I'm not quite sure, we've got some dust or something on some part of the optical train, I think. Now we've really pushed this, we've also got a sky background that's coming up a bit light as well. Yeah. And we can probably see how this is kind of moving as well, the way that we've got these trails. So something's bugging us. Yeah, so do you want us to look somewhere else, somewhere further south, and then we'll kind of go through the final sections within the advanced imaging panel. We are being approached pretty much all sides from cloud at the moment, so if we didn't move through, we could always go back to actually in the east, southeast would be better. They are with low clouds, yeah. Do you want to quickly go over to M42 again, because we're about to lose the sky, and I can quickly read through one of the other things just as we It's kind of good that we've got as far as we have with this, but I think. Actually, tell you what, can you give us another 30 seconds or so, because we've got the second image about to go onto the stack on this. Goodness only knows what's going to happen. Yeah, so we may be about to put a load of background on here rather than any image.
There's also a question, is the 11,000 a full frame sensor?
Yeah, people call different things full frame nowadays, but that's what I would traditionally call a full frame 35mm on the horizontal axis. sensor. So yes, absolutely. I've heard people describe the APS-H as a full frame sensor. I'm not sure what the definition of full frame is. But I used to think it was 35 mil. But whether or not people class APS-H as also full frame. Okay, that's two images on the stack. I'm going to stop that now. It's a little bit better, but it's not. I think the sky is going away from us at this point. Let's stop that. Let's bring this right back down again to the same level as that. Okay, what's the bright star that we've got for full visible? On the, is it first next to Orion? Yeah, should we just get that? 'Cause that's about the one thing that's left in the sky at the moment that we can still see. You know it's the end of the observing session by the time the only thing you can see is first. Let's just take a second. Okay, so what I was going to talk about was these advanced settings. And then maybe we don't have time for the Easter egg. Oh dear. Oh. Okay then, so shows fit settings. If I tick that, we get this other box that says use file prefix. If we tick it, and if we were saving these out using the selector directory thing, we would then be able to add a prefix, and it could be cloudy or something, and then it would just add the word cloudy to all the images. The idea is eventually if we add some more settings that we can select for object type, and it would go into the fits header. It will appear in this box here. This is kind of a feature that is not really fully complete yet. Sorry, that's show fit settings. Show color type. If I press this, something exciting will happen. If you see, the Arctic Horizon, it just turned the Arctic Horizon to color. So if it was mono, it would say mono. This was, I forget, it was one of the guys had both a color and a monochrome camera, and these connect to the same computer, and they couldn't work out which camera they had connected at what time. So we added this, so you can press that, and it'll come up saying if it's color or monochrome. Just at the top there. Show crosshairs. That can be useful. Let's see what's coming out of the telescope. Okay, we can work out which star there is source.
We've also had a request for M66.
Yeah.
Too low in the east, though, possibly.
East is about the only direction that we have available left to us. M66. Which is what's the M66? Oh, so one of the Leo triplets, is it? That would be fairly low. Have we still got Leo? We haven't got. It's everything. Yeah. Let's just carry it. I think really honestly, there is looking everywhere. It's cloudy at the moment. Is it better on the west? Is it going to pass? Okay. Let's just talk around what the software does for a moment, because I think possibly, in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the stacker going again, because eventually we're going to lose everything.
Can I just ask one more question?
No. Yes.
Yes, I can. I'm going to. We had a question: is the new CMOS camera going to be compatible with the Infinity software? And we've got several new CMOS cameras actually. So.
We have. Yeah, so it's an interesting one. Yeah, a lot of people are getting excited about the Cosmos camera, the full frame 62 megapixel camera. But I've also got the Asus cameras as well as CMOS cameras. So the 7 megapixels 8 We have a 12 megapixel and a 2 megapixel. Yes, the Infinity software is compatible with all of those. I'm going to say it's compatible with all those. It's compatible with the Asus at the moment because the Cosmos hasn't been released. And if we plugged it in the moment, it would just run out of memory because we haven't made a camera with as many pixels yet as the Cosmos 62 megapixel, and so we haven't specified enough memory within this program. But it will be. It will be. By the time it's released, we will have increased a number in one of the program files. That's it.
Yeah,
Right, okay.
no,
Well,
you
may
crack on.
I continue?
Absolutely. I'm going to shut up now.
If that's all right with you.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, thanks. Right then. So what? Okay, show updating. This is quite a weird one. I'm not sure why we've got this in there. So obviously it's selectable. It shows the word updating. It shows. Oh yeah, that's actually quite an interesting one. The way this software works, it works well because you can carry on using the interface while different things are happening. It's Chris Golden's piece of software, this one. It's massively multi-threaded. There's a whole lot of stuff going on underneath the hood. And you see that once the image is downloading, after the green bar reaches the top, then updating comes on. And the updating actually lasts now for pretty much the entire image download of the next image. So, yeah, basically, just because the software is integrating, or the camera is integrating, the software is still doing a lot of the alignment, generating histograms, keeping the whole user interface alive. Let's just turn that crosshairs off. That's starting to annoy me. Yeah, so somehow I seem to have missed the show updating thing, but yeah, so updating just comes up with that updating word at the top of the screen. Do you want to see it? You probably don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. You can turn it off. Right then, if you get in a right confusion with putting all these in and you kind of don't know really what the standard settings should be, or something's not working, you can hit reset all settings. I'm not going to do that right now, but that will then put these all back to a default setting, just if you've been playing around and things have started not to work. Right then, so drum roll on the exciting added feature which Chris has asked me, begged me not to show anybody. Roy, do you know what this is? Okay then. So I'm going to type the word. I'm going to put my mouse over in this corner here. Actually, I've never tried this before. I've just been shown that it works. So if this doesn't work, Chris has completely wound me up over it. I'm going to type the word attic and then follow it with the word rocks. So A-T-I-K-R-O-C-K-S. Oh, what happened? What happened there? Basically, we have something called hidden settings now appeared.
Wow.
Is that right? Thank you. I thought it was.
Impressed.
I thought it was worth something more than complete indifference. So, show hidden settings. If I now hit that button, it will then stop showing. So I'll have to do it all over again. So I'm not going to do that. So there's a number of things there. What's here is stuff that's in development. This may or may not work. Quite a lot of it doesn't work. If it goes cloudy, by all means, have a play around and see what's in there. But it may or may not be useful, and it might just give you a clue on what we're working on next, really. Show stats. This is like a stats for nerds under YouTube or something. So we're getting loads of numbers up here on that right-hand side. It's really helpful for us to understand what part of the software is doing what and what's taking up the time. And certain images, actually, that are very hard to stack can start to throw the alignment process out, and that starts to take up time, or maybe the histograms are becoming difficult to generate, and that's the kind of stuff that's useful to actually kind of read on the side. So the image stacker, image alignment, and these are all times that it's taking these different threads to complete. Is it really useful? Obviously not in use, and I don't really know the full definition for really many of these at all. So that's stats up there. demo cam directory. Now, if you remember, if you know, we can save each and every image out as as an individual fixed image. What you can then do is replay these. Actually, yeah, probably you are saying that people know that. People probably don't know that because it's hidden in hidden settings, which nobody's allowed to see. But if you've saved them all as individual fixed files, all in a directory, what you can do is then specify which directory these files are in, and then play them back as if it's a real image. Okay, so the press folder. I'm not going to do that at the moment. So yes, so you can basically have a demo camera that takes its inputs from a previous session that you've saved. Demo saved raw. So at the moment there's a bit of extra fixed headers going into the demo to the raw save files. If you hit, at the moment, so if you hit raw, it is a very raw image. If you don't do that, there is some adjustment, some header information that goes in. Yeah, so use exposure settings. Again, this relates to if you've got this thing configured as a demo camera, then this will use the same length of time, or will fake the amount of time it takes to download an image. So if you've got a 10-second image, it will take 10 seconds to download every image. If you turn it off, it'll just do them one at a time really quickly. It can be potentially useful if you wanted to quickly align and stack a whole load of images, to have that turned off, and it'll just quickly whiz through and align a whole load of, say, 2-minute exposures as quickly as it could. Right then. Yeah, so, oh no, that's ignore, sorry, that's ignore exposure time. I'm not dead sure what use stack sets is. That's the ignore exposure time button to ignore the exposure time. It's to stack as quick as it can. Show good, bad star info. What on earth is that going to do? I don't know what this does. Show good, bad star info. It may be it does nothing. It might also be in image quality. Yeah, actually we're seeing that at the moment we're not stacking 36 images because because I assume that the image quality has got to the point where we're no longer stacking. Yeah, so we turn that off so we're not rejecting. Stacked. Yeah, I think it's just struggling. It's probably lost, because the cloud, it's lost the number of the reference stars, and so no longer really knows what the hell it's stacking. And we can see this full width half max is bouncing around all over the place with the incoming images. So the sky has turned against us on that one. So we just continue on with the hidden settings. Show pixel value. This may be vaguely more interesting. If we click it on, then go over the image, you can see pixel values. So if we go over, how is it serious? We can see what pixel values. We've got red, green, blue on each pixel, and these are 16-bit values. Is that useful? I don't know. It's certainly hidden. And then camera mode. You do on the settings, we can force it into being a mono or a color camera, or treat it as mono or as color. If we decided to treat this as a mono camera, it wouldn't debar the image and we'd see the bio matrix. But I don't know. There's not really a lot of point to it. A raw camera directory is actually the same directory as we set up here, the select directory we're going to save into. So there we go. Not only have you seen the advanced settings, we've also seen the hidden settings. Hidden settings, obviously hidden for a reason. They're not guaranteed to work. They're not guaranteed to be useful or even interesting. They're only guaranteed to be hidden, really. So the only thing the hidden settings are guaranteed to be is hidden. And beyond that, use for your own enjoyment and at your own risk of doing whatever it's going to do. Right then. talked an awful lot there.
You have, yeah. The only thing that I can think that we haven't covered yet is you were going to cover the indie question.
We were, and I was going to throw whatever came out of this over to Rui, and I'm kind of feeling that maybe I can't on that one.
No, you can't.
Okay.
So,
So,
you have M42 in case you want to do something.
yes, let's go. Let's go to M42 then. While I try and avoid answering the question about indie, and so let's just turn stacking off for a moment. We'll actually start to see what the real image. Okay, yes. So I'm really, really glad in the end that we've got something, because 3 hours ago,
weren't looking favourable, was it?
no, good job. The microphone wasn't. I really hope the microphone wasn't running, and because my daughter was going to have tuned into this, and obviously it's important that we keep this friendly for the under 16s.
I do have another question actually. What is the difference between rejected and not stacked?
Yeah, so rejected images are rejected because they don't meet the full width half max criteria that I had on there. So that's why they get rejected. Not stacked really related to the fact we had some cloud coming over, and so it could no longer identify some of the fainter stars. So it then no longer knew how to stack them. So it wasn't rejecting the image. It just really didn't know how to stack it. Yeah. Okay then. So let's turn that on so we can stack. Unless you, should we just do something with the exposure settings? Should we do 30 seconds? We've seen this before, haven't we? And obviously we are all aware that we've got some half-eaten pizza back in the warm room. So, well, so we can't talk forever, really. So we'd love to. So we're going to talk about indie drivers, weren't we? We were.
I'm not letting you get away with that one.
So the indie stuff, you can now indie's got this client server model, so we can have. I was going to talk about them. Actually, with this colour balance, we've lost the. I was going to talk indie, but with colour balance, we've gone all over the place at the moment. So why is that? Image settings, colour balance is not on. The next time an image comes in, it should just sort itself out. Okay. I've forgotten I was going to talk about something, but it's gone. Here's the client server model, wasn't it? And the idea is, can we set up remotes, a indie device on a remote indie server, and then connect to it through Attic software. At the moment, we don't really open up the Attic software like Dawn and Dusk and Infinity. Don't work with ASCOM either, so it really connects only just through Attic cameras. So we do have a solution. The Attic Air will run on something like Raspberry Pi, and that will provide a client-server architecture there. So you could run something like Infinity on a desktop over a Wi-Fi connection to a Raspberry Pi running Attic Air, and that would provide the same functionality, though I do accept there are ways in which you might want to use that with something like Stellamate, which runs off indie drivers, and that wouldn't work as well. Actually, if you had a Stellamate, just thinking about it, if you had Stellamate, then there's no real reason why I think Stellamate wouldn't expose the indie devices to a client that was remote. But I'm not as familiar on that one. I can talk about the attic air. The attic air does achieve that. I think it depends a bit more on the actual server thing that is connecting to the Indie device. In this case, we have Indie drivers for all the attic cameras. So I've just gone around the circles on that one. So I think, yes, it probably is possible, but it's not something we support because we don't really support the Indie server or the Indie client. But we do the attic air, which is attic proprietary software that does do a connection over a local network, possibly Wi-Fi. I'm going to stop talking there because I think I'll finish answering it. Should we see, here's the trapezium about. There, Miss Nelly. I mean, that's, to be honest, there's a lot of dynamic range here. In fact, I'm not even sure what the trapezium is. So you've only got 4 stars in the trapezium, haven't you? See there? Yes, this is, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we do, yeah. Oh, maybe it's all just over there. It is. And we've still got, one thing we have got on, so if you tuned in from about 10 hours ago, we've got this smoothed image on the background here. So when you zoom in, we're not seeing individual pixels, we're seeing the smooth image, which we talked about a bit. We could just go back and do that again for 5 seconds. We got into raw pixels. We'd actually see the individual pixels as zooming in. Is that more aesthetically pleasing?
No.
I was, yeah, no. Not even up for debate. So yeah, I mean, I remember when I kind of started out doing this kind of imaging with stuff, with kind of video cameras and stuff, that would be a pretty good image from a little webcam or something. But no, nowadays, what are we looking at is full multicolour Technicolor. That's what we can do is a big non-linear stretch lens, isn't it? No, that's a bit too much. It is pushed a bit too far there, isn't it? But yeah, there's, but you can almost see the full M42 going all the way around. And we've got the running man, scroll running away in the background. Right then, I don't know. Have we got? Is there anything else that we want to cover off? Yeah. Do you want to drive for a bit, Roo? Just kind of in.
Any suggestions out of the marvelous people out there?
Oh, that's, what's it, the Leo?
The triple M66.
Yeah.
Alright, let's try.
Should we just see if we get it? Because we've got, that does look a bit, the sky can last longest before the next bank of cloud comes in. The Leo triplet also has another name, which I'm not sure if I can mention the other name. What do we call the Leo triplet? The line something or other. The line's banging. I maybe I got the wrong one. Sorry? I can't what the thing is, look like. What's somebody doing? So somebody joined in this. So we now have Rui on the controls.
Yeah, I'm the captain. Let's just wait for the next one. See what can we do. Alright, so we have some galaxies in build.
Awesome.
Now let's just put some proper exposure into
I
it.
can see, yeah, I'm not sure what the names of all these are, but I can see the
Yeah, that's 1, 2, 3
Yeah.
immediately, and you see whatever.
and with two
I
messages.
can't remember exactly.
Is it
as
two
well.
messages?
2 messages and 1 G2, if I'm not mistaken. So let's wait a little bit and oops, I need to do that. You need to start the stacking always because otherwise it's waste your
Plus,
images.
really is because we haven't got the auto reset on.
Yep.
So if we had that on, we wouldn't need to do that. But just occasionally, it can then trigger and then leave all the just back when you really haven't particularly got some.
Alright.
You can turn off all the stats if you want, if it's just holding it for hidden
Show stats. Yeah, let's try this. Alright, so what do we have here? Starting to reflect something.
So this is a group of galaxies, and they're all gravitationally linked, these two, aren't they?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
I think they're a real...
I think that we have a little bit of fog somewhere.
We do.
Yeah. So this might be the
Yeah.
poor land, refracted land suffering with the humidity in the air at the moment.
It's certainly not warm anymore.
No. So, but you can see that besides the out of focus thing, or even with the quite out of focus stars, and we don't know exactly why we are having this effect, but I suspect that we have a bad adapter over there that is creating this. Even that, with that subtle effect, we have some decent galaxies
see the spiral
starting
arms.
to be spiral arms and
You see the dust...
the dust
line
lane
going
right
through the
there.
hamburger.
Yes.
There's a hamburger in those.
Yeah. Although people can call them whatever they want. Yeah, it's not a bad image for sure. Just 8 images in stack, 20 seconds in 2 by 2. There's not an awful lot of color to be seen in these objects. It's such short exposure.
What happens? Because we've got the saturation we could adjust. You could just
we could.
just see what happens if you turn the
We could
saturation.
adjust saturation right here, a little bit up.
Just film that. That's how you do it.
Alright, so then, let's see. Yeah, we start seeing a little bit of color, brownish.
Yeah, I think it only resets itself. So we just reset the stack for it.
No, brightness scale.
Yeah, I think it only adjusts the images when it updates the new image.
Which we are about to see. Okay. Well, it's quite nice. So we could probably keep the background a bit more.
Yeah, you can all start. Yeah,
seeing
eventually.
the spiral.
If we could be bothered to focus it, and we then left it on there for now, it would be fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, completely. It's a good one. The Leo triplets.
Yeah, and it kind of shows the field of view we've got here as well, because that's
Yeah, it's
quite
massive.
a big unit. Yeah, and it looks like we've got condensation on the front of the lens. as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. For sure, there is something in front.
But we're hoping going now for, well, the telescope's been out this
For
late
many,
afternoon.
many hours now. So it's not impossible for it to be with condensation for me. By all means.
All right, should we just leave the software running on this for a bit in the stack, and we're going to maybe go and get a bite to eat and then
Yeah, okay.
pull it to pieces after.
Very well.
We'll just check before we say good night to everybody, and thanks for watching.
Yeah,
Is there anything else coming through? Just give it 10 seconds. And then we will meet our excuses. Yeah, that's the hidden settings. Show pixels on it. Show pixels on it.
that's the reason why they are in.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's like zoom leveling.
Yeah.
No more questions coming through, but if there's anything that you've asked that I haven't answered or have missed at all, please do get in contact and we will do our best to answer those questions. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already.
All right. So we wrap up for the night. And,
We got there in the end.
Fuck.
Thanks everybody. Thanks to
And
Chris.
thanks for your
if you-
patience.
Yeah, Chris, if you're still watching there.
Thank you for your patience. It was an interesting session, to say the least.
Yeah, that's cost us a few years off our lives.
But as if you are
Well worth it.
old enough astronomer, you have passed through all this kind of issues at least a few times in your lifetime. So it's nothing new for you to sure. It's just fine. And gremlins.
Yeah, so John is just saying, what are you trying to accomplish? That's a really deep question.
It's way more than we've got time for, John.
I was trying to make the world a better place. That's what I like to try and think.
I think world peace and a few nice pictures.
Yeah, but the point of the video was from quite a while ago. We were looking at the advanced image settings. What we are going to do is we will do a highlights